attempted assassination against former President Donald Trump. Republican blames Black employees. Let me first highlight something interesting. Many at the rally that Trump was at saw the gunman allegedly prior to the shooting.
With millions watching and many people benefiting from this program called Indisputable, we just need 1% of the viewers to become a paid member so we can continue to bring this content to you. Now back to the show.
Here it is.
Look, they're all pointing.
The Atlantic, maybe the Pacific.
Yeah, someone's on top of the roof. Look. There he is right there. Right there, see him? He's laying down, see him?
Yeah, he's laying down.
Instead, I'm here with you fighting like hell to get a Senate.
What's happening?
And to make sure we take back the White House, because if we do, we're going to make America better than ever before. We're going to make it.
Yeah, look. There he is.
Because we have millions and millions of people in our country that shouldn't be here. Dangerous people. Criminals. We have criminals. We have drug dealers. We have people that should not be here.
Right on the roof.
It's much tougher than it happens.
He went right on the roof with that.
Then minutes later, this happened.
And if you want to really see something that's said, take a look at what happened.
President Biden provided multiple responses. Here's one of them after the attempt.
And to remember, while we may disagree, we are not enemies. We're neighbors, we're friends, co-workers, citizens, and most importantly, we're fellow Americans. We must stand together. Yesterday's shooting at Donald Trump's rally in Pennsylvania calls on all of us to take a step back. Take stock of where we are, how we go forward from here. Thankfully, former Trump is not seriously injured. I spoke with him last night. I'm grateful. He's doing well, and Jill and I keep him and his family in our prayers. We also extend our deepest condolences to the family of the victims who was killed. Corey was a husband, a father, a volunteer firefighter, a hero, sheltering his family from those bullets. We should all hold his family and all those injured in our prayers. Earlier today, I spoke about an ongoing investigation. We do not know the motive of the shooter yet. We don't know his opinions or affiliations. We don't know whether he had help or support or if he communicated with anyone else. Law enforcement professionals, as I speak, are investigating those questions. Tonight, I want to speak to what we do know. A former president was shot, an American citizen killed, while simply exercising his freedom to support the candidate of his choosing. We cannot, we must not go down this road in America. We've traveled before throughout our history. Violence has never been the answer. Whether it's with members of Congress of both parties being targeted and shot, or a violent mob attacking the Capitol on January 6th, or a brutal attack on the spouse of former Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi, or information and intimidation on election officials.
And he continued, proper contextualization was appropriate. I want to put up one of the pictures of the alleged shooter. So per the Daily Beast, the attempted assassination of Trump is being investigated as potential domestic terrorism. I want you to keep that picture up because I do find it ironic that naturally this is being investigated, obviously, as domestic terrorism. The definition for terrorism is quite simple. You utilize criminal violence in order to enact a political outcome. The same thing happened on January 6th. That was also domestic terrorism. They utilized criminal violence to effect a political outcome. The FBI said Sunday, as law enforcement searches for answers about the motive, the shooting at the presumptive GOP nominee's rally in Butler, Pennsylvania, left one rally attendee dead, another 2 injured. Trump himself was left bloodied, as you know, after suffering a wound to his ear. The shooter, identified as 20-year-old Thomas Crooks, was killed by Secret Service snipers. There's a lot of rhetoric, a lot of conspiracy theory, and it comes down to basic distrust of our political norms, institutions, and people. Could there be something nefarious? Of course. It is possible. It's possible that this was, as is, an attempt that did not fully materialize. But let's be 100 here. Let's be all the way authentic. You see, political violence period, in the context of a democracy should have no place. While I disagree with Biden on many of his proclamations, I agreed with his contextualization of what has happened. Now, there are some interesting nuances here that must be addressed. So first, I'm going to go to Trump's initial response. Quote, I'm not supposed to be here, he says. He told the New York Post on Sunday, quote, I'm supposed to be dead, end quote. An attendee at the rally was killed, with 2 others were injured. Corey Pintori was killed, 2 others injured when Crooks decided to open fire. And once again, domestic terrorism out the gate. So the former classmate of the 20-year-old man who tried to unsuccessfully kill Trump recalled him being staunchly to the right of the political spectrum. So this former classmate of the shooter said, quote, he definitely was conservative, Max R. Smith told the Philadelphia Inquirer of Thomas Crooks. Quote, it makes me wonder why he would carry out an assassination attempt on the conservative candidate, end quote. Now, this is not the time to play politics if you're talking about understanding the sensitivity of the moment, et cetera, et cetera. But I remember, obviously, those on the right calling for violence against those on the left. All of this has to rub ironic, especially to the political right. There is no place for this here. Nowhere. But here's the reality. Members of Congress get death threats. Presidents get death threats. Hell, I get death threats. Simply for having an opinion. Simply for saying something that somebody else may disagree with politically or socially, maybe even economically or educationally. We have become the land of the intolerable. So much so that a Republican lawmaker gets on national television and decides to blame Black people for the attempted assassination on Trump by saying DEI. Just understand that DEI is their new code word for Black people. Here it is.
We are now joined by Republican Congressman from Tennessee, Tim Burchett. Thank you very much, sir, for joining us. Just give us your thoughts as we do await the president's remarks.
Well, I said this on my X account. I said that God had his hand on America. I don't think we need to slap it away. But, you know, when we talk about the rhetoric that's going on, it's kind of ironic that in a sickening way that CNN making comparisons to President Trump and comparing him to Hitler. You have Democrat representatives who called for, tried to pass legislation, 9 of them, in fact, to take President Trump's Secret Service detail away from him. And then, you know, it just, everything you all mentioned about the rooftop. I've talked to a Marine sniper today, SEAL sniper, former CIA operator, and they all said the same thing. How the hell did he get on top of that roof? If you look at the pictures, he didn't go through the top of the roof. There had to be a ladder or something. Somebody really dropped the ball. You've got a DEI, basically a DEI initiative person who heads up our Secret Service. You know, she was working at Pepsi before this. I know she was a former Secret Service agent, but still, This is what happens when you don't put the best players in. It's a complete failure on our part.
You see the spin here? You see the political posturing, the power grab in order to influence the minds of individuals who may be shocked about the current experience of the American political norm. But once again, I remind you that this rumbling of violence has been consistent since this type of campaigning started some years back. Those on the right, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Matt Gaetz, Sean Hannity, Charlie Kirk, others, they have all called for some level of violence to be animated against American citizens. These things are impressionable. They create ripples in this world. They create radicalization, as it would be called some years back. Okay, we're going to provide updates, obviously, as it develops. Please expect this will be politicized highly, especially by those on the right, unfortunately, in order to make cases against individuals who politically disagree with the administration. We do not condone violence whatsoever here at Indisputable. All the best to those who are injured, speedy recovery. Okay.